Welcome guys! In today's video, we're going to talk about one of the most loved cartoons out there. Today's cartoon is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Four anthropomorphic turtle brothers trained in ninjutsu who fight evil in New York City. Now take your seats and watch the full story of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Let's get started. We can't talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles without going back in time to the last century. The 60s exactly, when Hamato Yoshi was still an orphan child begging in Tokyo's streets with his close friend Yukio Mishimi when an old man passed by them and dropped a 5-yen golden coin. And despite Yoshi needing that money, he gave it to its rightful owner, which moved the old man's heart. So he decided to adopt them and welcomed them into his house. The two also became his kids and students, and he started teaching them ninjutsu. The kids grew up in the house together like brothers and learned the same martial arts. Unfortunately, they fell in love with the same girl named Chang Chang, who was also an orphan that the old man welcomed into his house. Chang Chang ended up falling in love with one man, and it was Yoshi. One day, Chang Chang saved a rat that was about to get killed by Yukio and decided to raise it as a pet, and this same rat plays a huge part in our story, so just follow with me. One night while the three were hanging out, Yoshi, Yukio, and Chang noticed that three ninjas were attacking a man, so Yoshi and Yukio went to help him and beat the three ninjas. However, the man they saved was not a regular human being. He was an alien called Mortu from a race called Utrum, and his identity got exposed. The man expressed how impressed he was with their skills and invited them to join his team, the Guardian. Now, to explain who these creatures are, we have to take a look into their roots. Utrums is an advanced peaceful alien species that lives on a remote planet from the Theta Galaxy. However, an Utrum called Tribunal was obsessed with power and a wicked psychopath. He traveled from one planet to another to cause wars and demolish them, which made him one of the biggest enemies that his species has ever known. However, they still managed to capture him and transfer him in a spaceship that Mortu himself was navigating back to the Utrum's planet so they could have his trial. On the way to the planet, and near planet Earth, Tribunal managed to escape captivity and messed with the spaceship's defense system, which destroyed it and made it fall to Earth in the Sengoku period of Japanese history, which took place in the beginning of the second millennia. Now, because human technology was still primitive, they decided that they only had to wait for the human race to evolve, no matter how long it would take them to go back home. Utrums used the debris of technology left from their spaceship to build robots resembling humans and fit in with them. Things were going well, until Tribunal attacked a fellow Utrum and took his robot. He then managed to blend in with humans and learned martial arts from them. He then started wearing the attire of samurai armor and changed his name to Shredder, which was inspired by a legend that he'd heard of a scary warrior from the Middle Ages, which, by the way, we will talk about later. And now that we've gotten here, it's time to reveal one of the most unexpected plot twists in this franchise, which is that Tribunal not only stole Shredder's name, but also stole his real identity, which is Oruko Saki. This human Shredder that we're going to see throughout this series is a deceitful imposter. As time went by, Shredder established a clan called Foot Clan, which was made out of loyal ninjas who sought revenge on Shredder's species and proceeded with his plans to rule the world. On the other hand, the Utrums didn't just stand still, they created a secret clan called the Guardians. This clan consisted of chosen human beings who were assigned secretly and trained to learn ninjutsu. The fight between the two clans lasted for about 1,000 years. Shredder demanded that humans make him a strong sword from the Utrum steel, which would later be known as the Tengu sword. Using this sword, Shredder was able to take over Japan, but then without really an explanation, Shredder lost his sword. Now let's go back again to Yoshida and Mashimi. After they became Guardians, Yoshida was promoted many times while Mashimi wasn't at all. It was here where Mashimi's character goes downhill. Mashimi was mad and jealous of Yoshida to the point where he killed Chang Chang and exposed the Guardians' base to Shredder. All of this to get revenge on Yoshida. A fight took place, and fortunately, Yoshida and Mortu came out safe and sound, but when Yoshida went back for the old man's house, he found the dead Chang Chang, which made him furious. Yoshida then headed to the Foot Clan on his own and successfully beat everyone to finally get to Mashimi, who is now Shredder's minion. Mashimi challenged Yoshida to a fight, only to end up losing against Yoshida and dying. Yoshida then escaped from Shredder. Now, Yoshida's whole life is going to change after that. With Tokyo's base destroyed, Utrum established a new base in New York under the name of TCRI. Yoshida moved with them and took the rat that Chang Chang took in as a pet. He also named him Splinter to remind him of what he failed and what he managed to do. As days go by, Splinter learns ninjutsu from Yoshida until one day, Shredder discovers where he lives and breaks into his house. To get information from Yoshida about the Utrum's base, he tortured him a whole lot. But little did Shredder know that Yoshida's honor and loyalty could never be touched. Realizing that it's no use and that Yoshida will never speak, Shredder kills him. Splinter was helpless, but was able to escape and went to the sewer where he would find his to-be trainees. Everything started one day when an Utrum's truck veered off the road and a bottle of green-looking solution dropped down the drain. At the same time, a boy drops his glass tank containing 4 little turtles. Both glasses broke, and now the turtles are covered in that green-looking chemical, and while Splinter was trying to help them, he got himself dirty as well. As time went by, Splinter noticed that his and the turtles' sizes were growing fast, as well as their intelligence, to the point where they were able to speak and walk on 2 feet easily. After Splinter found a book about the Renaissance period, he decided to name the turtles after ancient icons: Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, and Michelangelo. Their relationship was getting stronger like he was their dad, and he even taught them ninjutsu. During their childhood, Splinter collected Yoshida's ashes and took the turtles with him to Japan to bury him near his old house. The old man was shocked to see the Splinter and felt sad about what happened to his son Yoshida. The turtles continued to grow up, and Splinter made it clear that they weren't allowed to go to the surface under any condition. However, they didn't follow his orders and went outside when they were still little, where they showed a kid called Casey Jones how to handle some bullies. Splinter caught them red-handed and scolded them for disobeying his orders. Master Splinter continued to train the turtles in every possible way to get them ready for the evil that was roaming New York. The turtles never really grasped the idea of evil until they met their biggest and first enemy. In the meantime, Shredder was also working on his relationships with New York's criminals, especially with the Purple Dragons gang. Han, the gang's leader, became one of Shredder's most loyal minions. But first, let's dive into a little bit of Han's background. In the past, Han burned down one of Arnold Jones' stores, who is Casey Jones' father, because he didn't pay the gang in exchange for protection. So Arnold heads to the police station to report them. However, and as you would expect, Han kills him. Because of this, Casey Jones made a promise to get rid of all of New York's criminals, especially those who killed his parents, because ever since then, he's held a grudge against Han and the Purple Dragons. Okay, now let's start from episode 1. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are training in their lair when all of a sudden it's invaded by a horde of mousers. While trying to regroup with Splinter, they stumble upon a Purple Dragon's robbery. During the skirmish, Raphael gets locked inside the dragon's armored truck, leading his brothers to rescue him. They successfully retrieve Raphael, but find themselves surrounded by numerous mysterious ninjas. They escape in a stolen truck and eventually reunite with Splinter, who reveals an abandoned chamber that will become their new HQ. The turtles are adjusting to their new lair when they discover that the robots that destroyed their old home are mousers from Stocktronics. Dr. Baxter Stockman, the company's CEO, presents the mousers as a solution to the city's rat problem. But the turtles suspect a hidden agenda. April O'Neil, working at Stocktronics, grows suspicious of Stockman and investigates, discovering a secret facility producing a massive number of mousers. She's chased by the robots and eventually saved by the turtles. However, the turtles accidentally destroy the last mouser that could have led them to Stockman's source. As they rescue April, she faints at the sight of walking and talking turtles. The turtles then return to their lair with April, explain their origins, and she comes to accept their reality. Later, they raid Stocktronics to stop the mousers, but Stockman activates a self-destruct sequence, destroying the lab. Stockman escapes but faces Oruko Saki's wrath, and April is officially welcomed into the Turtles family. Meanwhile, Casey Jones, an ally of the Turtles in the making, takes it upon himself to fight against the rising crime throughout the city. When Raphael encounters Casey dealing with members of the Purple Dragons, a violent encounter ensues. Eventually, Casey and Raphael arrange a meeting in Central Park where the Turtles decide to confront Casey once again. This time, they join forces to face the Purple Dragons and successfully win Casey over as an ally in their fight against crime. The Turtles stumble upon a break-in at the Metropolitan Museum of Art by the Foot Clan, who are attempting to steal the Sword of Tengu. A battle ensues, and the Foot escapes with the sword, which emits strange vibrations. Back in their lair, the Turtles investigate a power outage, leading them to South Street Seaport, where they encounter a device powered by the sword that can reveal the riverbed. During the confrontation, they recover the sword, and Oruko Saki is determined to eliminate the Turtles. Saki orders Han and Stockman to locate and potentially eliminate the mutants. Meanwhile, Casey Jones unexpectedly arrives at the Turtle HQ and shows them a threatening graffiti. To investigate, Splinter sends Raphael and Casey to the surface, where they're ambushed by Foot Clan ninjas with cloaking devices, leading to Raphael's abduction. The remaining Turtles, equipped with special goggles, track down Raphael and the Foot Clan who are pursuing him. Raphael escapes, and the Turtles and Casey ultimately defeat the Foot Clan, returning safely to their lair. Later, Leonardo receives an invitation from Oruko Saki and heads to a warehouse for a meeting. Unbeknownst to Leo, his brothers secretly trail him to the meeting. At the warehouse, Saki introduces himself, explains his battle against a global evil, and offers an alliance. Leonardo returns to the lair where Splinter reveals his connection to Saki and his past as Hamato Yoshi's pet rat, warning his sons about the evil of Shredder. The Turtles then confront Saki, decline his alliance, and face the Foot in combat. However, Saki arrives in his Shredder armor and demands their allegiance, setting the stage for a looming conflict. The rooftop battle between the TMNT, Splinter, and the Shredder intensifies as the fire-ravaged warehouse collapses. The Turtles become separated but regroup with the help of Master Splinter, who arrives with the battle shell. The group reunites, and Splinter decides they should confront the Shredder. Despite a tough battle, the Turtles and Splinter manage to defeat the Foot Clan. However, the Shredder proves to be a formidable adversary. It's Splinter who ultimately outwits the Shredder, causing a water tower to collapse on top of him, seemingly defeating their nemesis. The Turtles and Splinter head home, believing they've won, but the episode ends with Shredder's hand emerging from the wreckage, hinting at his potential return. Some days pass, and the Turtles go about their routine, but Leonardo, who is unusually late from his training, is actually missing. Unbeknownst to them, Leo is entangled in intense battles with the Foot Clan, facing increasingly formidable foes one after another. After a grueling fight with Han, he encounters the enigmatic Foot Elite, who eerily vanish at will and appear to bow someone in the distance. To Leonardo's astonishment, it's the Shredder who engages in an intense battle with him. Severely injured and broken, Leo is later found by his brothers and Master Splinter, who learn that their arch-nemesis has returned. They are besieged by a relentless assault from the Foot Clan, with the Elite Guard joining the fray. Man, their odds seem bleak, especially as the Shredder makes an ominous reappearance. But then Casey Jones comes to their rescue, and together they fiercely fight back. The battle escalates to a fever pitch just as the police arrive on the scene, and the good guys are forced to seek refuge in a walk-in cooler inside April's antique shop. Meanwhile, Shredder, unwilling to leave the Turtles alive, ignites a firebomb and ruptures a gas line, resulting in a massive explosion that engulfs the building in flames. The mutants are then assumed to be dead by two Guardians. But they narrowly escape with Leonardo severely injured and in a coma. They find refuge on Casey's grandma's farm in Massachusetts, working to warm up and care for Leo. Meanwhile, Shredder seeks proof of the Turtles' demise, offering Stockman the chance to study a mysterious exoskeleton he recovered in exchange for evidence of the Turtles' destruction. Stockman, fearing Shredder's wrath, fabricates evidence to deceive him. Back at the farm, the Turtles and Splinter share heartfelt stories, ultimately awakening Leonardo from his coma, though his recovery is far from complete. Meanwhile, Stockman plots his own sinister agenda while Saki remains oblivious to the deception, thinking he has eliminated his foes. After 3 months of recuperation in Northampton, the Turtles and their allies return to their lair and discover that the Foot Clan is no longer searching for them, assuming they're dead. Taking advantage of this, they plan to launch an offensive against the Shredder's headquarters. Donatello and April hack into the Foot systems to gather information about the building, while the rest of the Turtles infiltrate it through a sewage pipe, sending the Battle Shell in as a decoy. Inside the Foot headquarters, they encounter invisible Foot Tech ninjas in a weapons hangar, but manage to defeat them using various tactics. Moving to the next level, they find a genetics lab with strange creatures and tanks, which leads to an alarming discovery as several tanks open, releasing bizarre Shredder clones. After facing the bizarre Shredder clones and escaping the genetics lab, the Turtles and Splinter climb to the top of an elevator car. When the car hits the basement floor, they exit only to encounter traps in a hallway. After dealing with these traps and using their ninja skills to navigate, they reach a mysteriously foggy room with an evil temple containing elemental statues. When the statues come to life as Foot mystics representing various natural elements, the Turtles and Splinter find themselves unable to harm them until Splinter uses the Sword of Tengu's powers to defeat the mystics. In the process, Splinter sustains minor injuries and severely burns his hands. They continue their journey, and upon arriving to the antechamber to the Shredder's throne room, they face the Elite Guard and Han. The battle is intense because Stockman, in a massive exosuit, bursts through the floor, pledging revenge on Shredder and the Turtles, much to everyone's surprise. After a difficult battle, the Turtles manage to damage his exosuit just enough to send him plummeting to his apparent doom. Still, the battle against Shredder ensues, and Leonardo wields the Sword of Tengu. With a united effort, the Turtles, aided by the Guardians, confront Shredder and manage to defeat him. Leonardo beheads Shredder with the Sword of Tengu, and the Guardians help defeat the remaining Foot soldiers. Afterward, the Turtles use the sword's power to disable Foot HQ's systems, leading to its destruction. However, Splinter mysteriously disappears from the rooftop, and as the Turtles make their hurried exit, Shredder's headless body is seen moving. Does this man even die? In the final showdown, the Turtles and Splinter confront the Shredder and his minions at TCRI. Using their combined efforts and a clever plan from Donatello, they manage to defeat Shredder, but not before the Shredder reveals himself to be an Utrum. As the building is about to implode, they make a hasty escape through the transmat. The Shredder Utrum is left behind, meeting a fiery end as the building implodes. They return to the surface, leaving the destroyed TCRI building behind, and prepare to share their incredible story with April and Casey. The Triceraton homeworld and a fleet of motherships enter Earth's stratosphere, erecting an energy shield and decimating military bases with colossal laser cannons. After a series of events, Zanramon demands the Fugitoids surrender, believing the Turtles used his technology to return to Earth. The Turtles receive a call from April and Casey, who are captured and held in Central Park. However, Donatello is injured and captured while trying to save them. Meanwhile, Zanramon threatens to lift Manhattan into outer space if Donatello does not comply. A rescue mission is in progress as his brothers and Traximus infiltrate the ship. When they face resistance, a former friend, Monza Ram, helps them escape. As the Turtles return to Earth and save Manhattan, Zanramon's forces begin to withdraw and the Turtles secure the stolen spaceship. However, they're met with the arrival of Fugitoid, setting the stage for further troubles. In Saki's mansion, a farewell party's in progress as the villain prepares to leave for his home planet, designating Karai as its successor. April and Casey attempt to infiltrate the party, while the Turtles, Leatherhead, and Professor Honeycutt work to disable the security systems. Bishop and his commandos keep a close watch, and Donatello discovers that Saki is building an intergalactic spaceship. A confrontation erupts as Saki begins the emergency launch sequence, and the Turtles are divided between being on the ship and being outside it. As Shredder's ship takes off, the Turtles and Splinter narrowly board it, engaging in a fierce battle with Shredder and his forces. Karai ultimately intervenes and saves the Turtles, but a warhead causes the ship to lift off prematurely, leaving some of the heroes on board. During a climactic battle, the Turtles suffer injuries, and Donatello, Splinter, and Honeycutt initiate an overload of the ship's power core. The resulting explosion is frozen in time by the Utrams, who appear and take all the characters to safety. In the aftermath, Shredder is found guilty by the Utram High Council of heinous crimes and sentenced to eternal exile on the ice asteroid Morgaltal, while Karai and Dr. Chaplin are sent back to Earth to face justice. The Turtles, Splinter, and Honeycutt watch in triumph as the Shredder's reign of terror finally comes to an end. Now, just to give some context, now that Chirell's out of the picture, Han steps up to the plate and transforms the Purple Dragons into a full-fledged organized crime syndicate. Season 4 starts in the deep woods of Northampton, Massachusetts, where Casey and April share a romantic moment at the farmhouse. Later, Casey seeks advice from Splinter on how to express his feelings and opens up to her by the end of their trip. Back in the Turtle lair, Leonardo's anger and frustration leads to an outburst during sparring, injuring Master Splinter. Realizing that he needs a new teacher, Splinter instructs Leo to travel to Japan to train under the Ancient One. Leo embarks on his journey, encountering various challenges and lessons along the way. After passing tests of patience, humility, and self-acceptance, he finally reaches the Temple of the Ancient One and confronts a stone guardian who is a mirror image of himself. Through this confrontation, Leo learns to forgive himself for past failures and embrace inner peace, earning the honor of being trained by the Ancient One. After returning from his training in Japan, Leonardo discovers the Turtles' lair in ruins and realizes that the Foot Clan is responsible for the attack. He embarks on a quest to locate them one by one, reuniting with each of them and bringing them to an abandoned reservoir pump station for safety. The family's finally back together, but Leo still has unfinished business, confronting Karai at Foot HQ. He defeats her, but offers her a chance for redemption. Back at the pump station, Leonardo gifts Splinter with a mystical walking stick, and the family is reunited with a sense of hope and unity despite the challenges they've faced. The Turtles and Acolytes attend a training session with Hisomi Shisu, practicing stealth, and then engage in weapons training with Master Jutsu, who introduces them to the Spirit Forge. The Tribunal interrupts, revealing the need to retrieve an artifact, and they embark on a mission to secure it from Turtle River demons. After a battle, they return with the cask and open it, revealing the artifact as Shredder's helmet. After some intense training, the discovery of the third Shredder artifact leads the Acolytes to a cave infested with rat demons, the Nezumi. Leo's newfound powers help obtain the Shredder's gauntlet, but this mission turns out to be a setup, as the Shredder's heralds are waiting for the Tribunal to gather all three artifacts, making the imminent return of their master. The Foot Mystics successfully revive the Shredder, who plans to wreak havoc in New York and take over. The Turtles and Splinter have connected to the Shredder through their training in the Ninja Tribunal, and they realize he might target Karai first. They warn Karai and arrive just in time to intervene as the Shredder demands Karai's presence. Karai confronts the Shredder and utilizes specialized weaponry to combat him, while the Turtles engage the Foot Mystics. However, she gets severely injured, leading to the Shredder's victory and his minions surrounding the Turtles. The Turtles' mystical abilities transform them into dragons, giving them an advantage in the battle against the Shredder. They defeat him, save Karai, and escape, leaving the Shredder and his mystics to plot their next moves. In this climactic episode, the demonic Shredder has plunged New York City into a nightmarish version of feudal Japan, and the Turtles, along with their allies, prepare to confront him. Karai, now carrying the Shredder's mantle, seeks to weaken him using a link that saps his energy and allows them to separate his helmet and gauntlet. However, when Shredder appears defeated, Han tries to ensure his demise, only for Shredder to reawaken and retaliate by throwing him. The Shredder, now riding a demonic horse and armed with a trident, faces off against Splinter, the Ancient One, and the Turtles, setting the stage for an epic battle. In the final showdown, the Turtles, along with allies and enemies, confront the demonic Shredder in a nightmarish version of New York. Hamato Yoshi, summoned from the Turtles' amulets, strikes a decisive blow with the Shredder's own trident, weakening him. Shredder, in a desperate attempt, transforms into his dragon avatar, but the Turtles also become dragons and combat him. Karai saps his energy, and the Turtles, as well as the astral manifestation of Yoshi, ultimately deliver the final blow, vanquishing the Tengu Shredder forever. As the dust settles, the heroes part ways, with Bishop taking Baxter Stockman, the Ninja Tribunal revealing their purpose, and Karai embracing a new path. One day, a mysterious burst of light transports the Turtles to a futuristic metropolis where they meet Cody Jones, who reveals that he accidentally brought them to the year 2105 with his time travel experiment. Cody explains his connection to April and Casey Jones and shares his collection, which includes remnants of their past adventures. With Cody's help, the Turtles locate a group of alien captors known as the Street Phantoms and defeat them, hopeful that they will thrive in the future. Later, they attempt to repair the time machine, but it explodes, leaving the Turtles stranded in 2105. Agent Bishop is revealed to be the president of the Pan-Galactic Alliance and asks the Turtles for help in capturing an intergalactic mercenary named Torben Zix. Despite their reluctance, the Turtles agree to the mission. Zix is hired by Shokanabo to transport a bomb to the moon, which causes the Earth's defense grid to go down. The Turtles fail to capture Zix, who continues plotting his sinister plans. One day, Cody goes to O'Neill Tech and discovers Darius in a secret meeting with Boss Zuko, the leader of a gang of Triceraton rebels involved in weapons manufacturing. Cody alerts the Turtles, but the Turtles' investigation is interrupted when Darius has the police escort Cody away. Later, Cody confronts Darius, who intends to frame the Turtles and send Cody away. Cody uses his Mecha Turtle X suit to defeat Darius, but the villain escapes with a last-ditch effort, vowing revenge against his nephew and the TMNT. As a ship arrives on Cody's penthouse rooftop, President Bishop urgently requests the Turtles' help to deal with Shokanbo, who has taken over Moonbase Bishop and threatens Earth's safety. Upon their arrival, they learn of Shokanbo's sinister plan to plunge Earth into darkness and populate it with his Kanabo drones. To stop his schemes, Dawn and Raph open the blast shields, and Bishop and Cody thwart Viral from hacking the protection grid, trapping her inside Turtle X, while Leo, Mikey, and Splinter confront Shokanabo. After a fierce battle, they successfully restore sunlight, saving Earth and defeating Shokanabo, who is destroyed by a solar grenade. The day is won, and the Turtles celebrate their victory. Trapped within Serling's systems, Viral begins healing her damaged form and seeks revenge on the Turtles. When the Turtles, Splinter, and Serling attempt to return to their time using a repaired time window, Viral seizes control, diverting them to various historical eras. They persuade Viral to transport them back to their time, but she sends them to a future where 3 Shredders are at war. In a fierce battle, they discover that Utrum Shredder can help repair Serling. Using Turtle X, they defeat all 3 Shredders, but Viral takes control and attacks with the Decompiler program. In a tragic turn, Splinter apparently sacrifices himself to save his sons. The Turtles return to their time, mourning the loss of their sensei, while Viral is infected by a new cybernetic Shredder form. The Turtles and Serling, in their lair, attempt to comprehend Splinter's fate when Casey Jones and April also show up, happy to see their friends after a year in the future. However, they notice a change in Casey's behavior as he rushes off to karate school under Khan, which leaves April concerned. Khan hypnotizes Casey and his students, forcing the Turtles to intervene without using weapons to defeat the entranced students and save Casey. They return Casey to his senses, seemingly destroying Khan's dojo in the process, and head back to their lair. Donatello remains guilt-ridden over Splinter's fate, but eventually discovers a message on his computer screen featuring Splinter on an an unknown cube, leaving them shocked and determined to uncover the truth. Meanwhile, Khan survives, and a new threat, the Cyber Shredder, emerges. In their lair, Donatello discovers a transmission from Master Splinter in cyberspace, leading the Turtles on a mission to collect his scattered data bits. After uploading into cyberspace, they face the resurrected Cyber Shredder, resulting in a battle they cannot win. They escape, regroup, and don Cybernaut armor, with Donnie absorbing the first batch of Splinter's data bits. The Turtles engage in a fierce fight with Cyber Shredder, but manage to collect the data bits and retreat to the real world, where Donatello begins uploading the data. Cyber Shredder realizes the Turtles' access to cyberspace, setting the stage for future confrontations. The Turtles find some more of Master Splinter's data bits in cyberspace, but their mission takes a dangerous turn when their equipment begins to overheat, forcing them to return to the real world just in time to avoid a catastrophic portal explosion. However, things quickly turn surreal as they face strange events and even the apparent death of Casey. It's only when Leonardo notices inconsistencies in these events that the Turtles realize they're still trapped in cyberspace and being manipulated by the Shredder. They manifest their Cybernaut armor to confront the Shredder and eventually break free from said illusion. They hurry to warn Donatello, but the Shredder manages to obtain a piece of cyber energy, enabling him to complete his portal. The Turtles are faced with a cyber crisis as Cyber Shredder infiltrates the city's mainframe, causing chaos and disruption. They decide to split into two teams, with Donatello and April working to upload a worm killer to defeat Cyber Shredder in cyberspace, while the rest of the Turtles and Casey confront the physical manifestations of the cyber attack in the real world. They face various challenges and even water-based attacks controlled by Cyber Shredder. After a series of encounters, Donatello and April successfully disrupt the mainframe, restoring control of the city's technology. The Turtles and Casey confront Cyber Shredder at the mainframe building, leading to a battle where they temporarily defeat him. But of course, he manages to escape into cyberspace, setting up potential conflicts for the future. Now, after some time, the Turtles successfully retrieve all of Master Splinter's data bits and use the cyber portal to bring him back to the physical world just in time for April and Casey's wedding. The entire group, including the Turtles' friends and allies, gathers at Casey's grandmother's farm for the wedding celebration. However, uninvited guests crash the party, including the Foot and the Cyber Shredder, who had manipulated Splinter's data to return to the real world. A chaotic battle ensues, with the barn collapsing and a showdown between the Turtles, their allies, and all the villains. Donatello discovers a way to defeat Cyber Shredder by finding a homing device in Splinter's ear and using a decompiler to disable him. Splinter helps penetrate the villain's force field, allowing Donatello to obliterate Cyber Shredder. Now, finally, with the threat eliminated, the wedding ceremony resumes, and Casey and April are finally married, with various onlookers secretly witnessing the event.